All right, so today we're going to talk about negative exponents first, and then we're going to talk about scientific notation with small numbers, because that will also, those would also give us negative exponents. So way back, so first off, let's do a quick review. If you recall, we did x to the fifth divided by x to the third. When we do that, we subtract the exponents. If you recall doing that, and we subtract the exponents, we get x squared, because 5 minus 3 is 2. Correct? All right, that's easily applied, because if I did this, x to the fifth over x to the third equals x times x times x. So 5 x's over 3 x's, and I can cancel out the sames. So those all become 1s. And what do I have left? I have 2 x's left. That's x squared. All right. Now, that should be a review. Today we're going to consider something different. Today we're going to consider a whole new problem. And that is x to the third divided by x to the fifth. Now, when we have that, we have to actually subtract. And when we subtract, what do we end up with?
X to the negative second.
X to the negative second, and that is the focus of what happens today. Now, if I work that out just like I did the problem before, x to the third equals x times x times x, and x to the fifth equals x times x times x times x times x. And when I cancel those out, look what I'm left with. I'm left with 1 over x squared. See that? When I do it that way, I'm left with 1 over x squared. So, the rule for negative exponents, before I tell you the rule, does this make sense? If I write it out this way, you see I get 1 equals x squared? So the rule for negative exponents is this, or the law of negative exponents, I should say. Goes like this. 1 over, let me start again, scratch that. X to the negative n power, n stands for any exponent, that's why it's there, equals 1 over x to the positive n power. That's the law. All right? I'll show you some examples of this law with you right now. What does 10 squared equal?
10 squared equals 100.
Okay, 100. What does 10 to the first power equal?
1.
10. What does 10 to the 0 power equal?
1.
That equals 1. Now, 10 to the negative 1. Make it a fraction. What is 10 to the first?
10 to the first is 10.
Okay, so this can be 1/10.
Oh, it should be.
It's not negative, it's just small. So when we get to negative exponents, we get small. We don't become negative, we just get small. So 10 to the negative second would be 1 over 100. Because 10 squared is 100, right?
Yeah.
And we proved this to be true when we did this. We proved it to be true when we worked out this problem this way. X to the third divided by x to the fifth gave me 1 over x to the x squared, 1 over x squared. All right, we proved that to be true. So that's the law of negative exponents. All right, so taking that law, you tell me the answer to this one. What is 10 to the negative third equal?
Ooh, 1,000.
1/1000. Very good. You guys catch on quick. Nice work. 1/1000. All right, does that make sense?
Yep.
So far, so good? Okay, so you tell me this one. 10 to the negative second times 10 to the negative fourth. What does that equal?
That equals 10 to the negative 6.
10 to the negative 6. Because you remember we have to add them? So it equals 10 to the negative 6. Okay, because we're multiplying, right? Now let's divide the same ones. 10 to the negative second divided by 10 to the negative fourth. What do you think that equals?
I think that equals
10 to the
1
second.
over 10 to the negative
Okay.
second.
Good try. What do you do when we divide exponents? What did we say we did at the very beginning of today? The review part.
We said that
We subtract them. So what is negative 2 minus negative 4? You got two negatives in a row.
negative.
Doesn't that become negative
That's
2
two.
plus 4?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because two negatives in a row make a positive. So negative 2 plus 4 would be?
Oh, 6.
No. Negative 2 plus 4. What's 4 minus 2?
That'd be 2.
Would be 2. So the answer for this is 10 squared. Because when you're dividing, you have to subtract. And if the bottom number is negative, then you change that to adding. So we actually are adding the negative 4, which becomes positive 4, to the negative 2. So it's 10 squared. So you have to be careful when you're doing those to make sure you're watching your signs. All right? So let's move on. Let's try a couple more. What about 2 to the negative third power? What does that equal?
10 to the 2 to the negative third power equals.
Isn't it 12? No, 8. 8
1/8.
1 over 8.
1/8, yes. Because that's 1 over 2 to the third power, so it's 1/8. Very good. Now something different then is, what is this one? What is this one? This is an old style problem we've done a while ago.
Oh, that is
Negative
that's
6.
negative. That's negative. What's it called? Yeah.
8.
Negative 8, because 2
Oh,
times 2
yeah.
times 2 is 8,
That's again.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try a couple more. What about 3 squared times 3 to the negative 2? This is a review one again, but now we got negative numbers in there. When we multiply, we add, right? Okay,
So
so
it would be just 3. No, I do need it just 9. Cause oh no, it would be it would be
let's think about this. What's 2 plus negative 2 equal?
negative 4.
2, positive 2 plus negative 2
0.
would be 0. That is 3 to the 0, which equals
1.
1. Or in other words, 3 squared is 9 times 3 to the negative second is 1/9. That's going to equal 1 as well. So I just did that problem 2 different ways.
Oh yeah, I was like, what should it be 9 at the end?
Okay. Now let's try something completely different. We write out a problem. So we have 2x to the negative first power, yx squared, y to the negative second, z. Okay? We got a problem written out. Now, they're going to say, write this problem out with positive exponents. Now, how do we make those negative exponents positive? What do we make them into? What did we do? Let's go backtrack. Oh, for example, how do we resolve that one? What do we do?
We
That's
would
1 over 1,000.
That's 1 over 10 to the third, right? Right? Or 1 over 1,000, right? So we can do the same thing with these.
x over.
So that's going to be 1 over x, right? This one is going to be 1 over y squared to make them positive, right? So let's do that. So that's 2 y x squared z over, remember what we said? That's going to be x, because 1 over x, y squared. Now, I made everything positive, right? Cross off what you can cross off. Can we simplify this problem anymore?
Yeah.
You bet you can. Okay, so if we could take one x away from here and one from up here, and we could take this y away and take that, so all we have left is 2xz over y. Okay, so we can simplify those a little bit. All right, now let's apply these negative exponents.
Is that 2x to, oh, that's a z.
That's a z. That's why I put the line through it. Now let's apply this to some other stuff. Deep breath. Scientific notation. 1.5 times 10 to the negative third power. Let's write this as standard form. Do negative exponents ever make negative numbers?
No.
No, they just make small numbers. So we need to make this number smaller. So if we want to make this number smaller, which way would I move the decimal point?
Left.
I move it to the left. Remember when they're positive, we move it to the right? Now it's negative, we move it to the left. So let's move it to the left. How many times?
3.
3. So move it over once, it's right here. Twice, I add a 0. 3 times, I add one more 0. So I have 0.0015. Those are the same. That's how negative exponents work. All right? Here's another one. Make that in scientific notation. Where does my decimal point have to go? You tell me where does it belong? After the
First 0.
after the 7. First number that's not 0. Remember I always say that rule because when we're dealing with small numbers, it's after the first number that's not 0. So that's the 7. 7 times 10 to the, how many times do you have to move it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that going to be positive 6 or negative 6?
Negative.
Negative, because it's a small number. And I had to move it to the right to do that. Okay? Okay? One more. 1 times 10 to the negative 4th and negative 10. Which one of those is bigger? You don't have to solve it if you remember the rule I told you. Which one of those is bigger?
Negative 10.
Do negative exponents ever make a negative number? No. So which one's bigger?
Negative.
1 times 10 to
No, I mean that one. Yeah.
This one is bigger. That's the bigger one because that's just a small number, still bigger than 0 though, and that's bigger than negative 10. All right? These are always going to be bigger than these, than any negative number. All right? So don't forget that either. Questions? All right? Go ahead and give it a whirl. Nice work.